The first attack came without warning. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency signal started, screaming across every communication channel in the galaxy. He nearly dropped his cup as the messages flooded in from 12 different star systems. Mayday, Mayday. This is New Athens Colony. We are under attack by unknown alien forces. Repeat, we are under massive attack. Veltar homeworld calling all ships. Enemy fleet approaching. Send help immediately. Altarian Federation to all allied forces. We need backup now. They're everywhere. Morrison set down his coffee and ran to the bridge of the U.E.'s Ranger. His small patrol ship was conducting routine surveys near the outer rim of human space. The bridge was tiny compared to the massive warships back home, but it was his ship and his crew. Amy, what's our position? He called to his pilot. Amy Clark looked up from her controls. She was young but skilled, one of the best pilots Morrison had ever worked with. We're about 6 hours from the nearest colony, sir. Right on the edge of everything. Pete, can you boost our communication array? I need to hear these signals better. Pete Santos, their engineer, was already working on it. His hands moved quickly over the control panels. Working on it, Captain. These signals are coming from really far away. Whatever's happening, it's big. Lisa Hayes, their communications officer, turned around in her chair. Her face was pale. Captain, I'm getting reports from all over. Something called the Zephyrian Empire is attacking everyone at the same time. They hit 12 systems all at once. Morrison felt his stomach drop. The Zephyrian Empire. He had heard that name in intelligence briefings. They were a military empire from the far side of the galaxy. Nobody had seen them for decades. Most people thought they were just stories. How many ships are we talking about? Morrison asked. From what I can tell, hundreds, maybe thousands. Lisa's voice was shaking. They're using massive dreadnoughts and carrier fleets. The reports say they're cutting through everything like it's made of paper. Morrison walked to the main view screen. Space looked normal out there. Stars twinkled peacefully in the darkness. But somewhere out there, worlds were burning. People were dying. And Earth's main battle fleet was 3 months away, conducting exercises on the other side of the galaxy. Sir, incoming transmission. From Earth Command, Lisa announced. Put it through. Admiral Frank Cooper's face appeared on the screen. Morrison had met him a few times. He was a good man, but he looked tired and worried now. All patrol vessels, this is Terra Station. We've received the distress calls. I'm ordering all ships to maintain positions and gather intelligence. Do not engage enemy forces. Repeat, do not engage. Morrison cleared his throat. Admiral, what about the main fleet? When can they get here? Cooper's expression grew darker. The fleet is 3 months out, minimum. They're conducting deep space, training exercises beyond the galactic edge. It'll take time to recall them and get them back here. 3 months. Morrison thought about all the colonies, all the innocent people who would be dead in 3 months. The Zephyrians had planned this perfectly. They knew exactly when to strike. What are our orders, sir? Morrison asked. Stay hidden, watch, report. What you see, but do not engage. Your patrol ships aren't built for this kind of fight. The transmission ended. Morrison stared at the blank screen for a moment. 25 people on his ship. Maybe a few hundred humans scattered across this entire sector. Against an empire that was currently destroying civilizations. Captain, Amy said quietly, I'm picking up something on sensors. About 2 hours away. What kind of something? Looks like a battle. Energy signatures, explosions. Something big is happening. Morrison made a decision that would change everything. Set course for those energy signatures. Best speed. Sir? Pete looked confused. The Admiral said not to engage. He said not to engage enemy forces. He didn't say we couldn't look. The U.S. Ranger turned and headed toward the battle. Morrison knew he was probably making a mistake. His little patrol ship had light armor and basic weapons. Against a military empire, they were nothing. But he had to see what they were dealing with. 2 hours later, they arrived at what used to be Veltar Outpost 7. The space station was. A burning wreck, pieces of metal spinning slowly in the void. Dead ships floated everywhere. Most of them were Veltar vessels, but Morrison could see some alien ships too. Ships he had never seen before. "My God," Amy whispered. The alien ships were massive, dark metal hulls covered in weapon ports. They moved with purpose, scanning the wreckage, looking for survivors to kill. "Lisa, are you recording this?" Morrison asked. "Yes, sir. Getting everything." "Good. Earth Command needs to see what we're dealing with." Suddenly, alarms started blaring. "Captain!" Pete shouted. 3 enemy ships just broke off from the main group. They're heading right for you? Morrison's blood turned cold. They had been spotted. "Amy, get us out of here. Now." "Working on it." The Rangers spun around and jumped to hyperspace, just as alien weapons fire lit up the space where they had been. Morrison watched the enemy ships grow smaller on the rear display. They were fast, but not fast enough as they traveled through hyperspace. Morrison thought about what he had seen. The Zephyrians were not just attacking randomly. They were being systematic, destroying everything in their path, and they were good at it. "Lisa, get me a secure channel to Earth Command. We need to report what we saw." "Already on it, Captain." Morrison looked at his small crew. They were scared, but they were ready. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. Even if the main fleet was 3 months away. Even if they were just a tiny patrol ship in a galaxy at war. The Zephyrians thought they had planned everything perfectly. They thought humans were weak without their big fleet. But they were about to learn something important about humanity. When you corner a human, when you threaten everything they care about, they don't just give up. They fight back. Commander San Rodriguez was loading cargo containers when the message came through. His ship, the U.S. Buffalo, was a big, slow freighter, not built for fighting, built for carrying things from one place to another. But when he heard Captain Morrison's report about the alien attack, everything changed. "Kate, get over here," he called to his chief engineer. Kate Williams wiped grease off her hands and walked over. She was the best engineer Rodriguez had ever worked with. If something was broken, she could fix it. If something needed to be built, she could build it. "What's up, Sam?" she asked. "We've got a problem. Big alien fleet is attacking everyone. Our main battle fleet is 3 months away." Kate's eyes went wide. 3 months? What are we supposed to do for 3 months? Rodriguez looked around his cargo hold. It was full of mining equipment. Plasma cutters, drilling machines, explosive charges. All the tools needed to break apart asteroids and extract metals. "I've got an idea," he said. "How fast can you turn mining equipment into weapons?" Kate grinned. It was not a nice grin. "Give me 6 hours." Rodriguez started sending messages to every human ship he could reach. The cargo hauler, U.S. Denver, responded first. Then the research vessel, U.S. Discovery. Then a mining ship, 2 passenger transports, and a dozen smaller vessels. Within 12 hours, 17 human ships had gathered at the meeting point. Not one of them was a warship. They were traders, miners, researchers, and cargo haulers. But they were all humans, and they were all hangry. "This is crazy," said Captain Nick Foster from the trading ship U.S. Liberty. "We're not soldiers. We're not fighters." "Neither were the farmers at Lexington," Rodriguez replied. "Sometimes ordinary people have to do extraordinary things." While they talked, Kate and her team worked. The plasma cutters that normally cut through asteroid rock could cut through alien ship hulls just as easily. The drilling charges that broke apart space rocks could punch holes in enemy armor. The industrial fabricators that made spare parts could make missiles dot, but the real breakthrough came from Dr. Alex Turner at Research Station Omega. His message reached them just as they finished their preparations. "I've been studying a disabled alien scout ship," Turner's recorded message said. "Their shields work on a specific frequency. Good news is, our plasma cutters can disrupt that frequency. Bad news is, they'll adapt quickly once they figure out what we're doing." Rodriguez smiled. "Then we better hit them hard and fast." The human ships moved toward the Kepler Junction, where alien forces were setting up a supply base. 17 ships against a full enemy squadron. On paper, it should have been suicide. But Rodriguez had spent 20 years hauling cargo through dangerous space. He knew how to avoid trouble. More importantly, he knew how to cause it. "All ships, this is Buffalo Actual," he said over the radio. "Remember, we're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to hurt them as much as possible and get out alive." The alien ships detected them coming, but they didn't take the human force seriously. Why would they? A bunch of cargo ships and miners against military vessels. It should have been easy. The aliens were wrong. The attack started when they used Denver. A big cargo hauler like the Buffalo rammed straight into an alien cruiser. Captain Mary Lewis had loaded her ship with explosive mining charges and set them to go off on impact. The explosion tore the alien ship in half. Lewis and her crew died in the blast, but they took 300 aliens with them. For Mary, Rodriguez shouted, and the rest of the human ships attacked. The converted mining ships swarmed the aliens like angry wasps. They were small and fast, and their modified plasma cutters sliced through alien shields like butter. The aliens tried to target them, but there were too many moving too fast. Kate's modified missiles launched from cargo containers that looked harmless until they opened up. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Military doctrine said missiles came from missile launchers. These missiles came from boxes. The UES Discovery, Dr. Turner's research ship, had the strangest weapon of all. They had modified their laboratory equipment to emit the same frequency disruption that Turner had discovered. Any alien ship that got too close found its shields failing. The battle lasted 30 minutes. When it was over, 3 alien cruisers were destroyed, and 2 more were badly damaged. The surviving aliens ran away as fast as they could. The humans had lost 4 ships, but they had won their first real victory. "Did you see their faces?" laughed Pete Santos over the radio. He was now on the Buffalo, helping Kate with modifications. "They had no idea what to do with us." Rodriguez wasn't laughing. He was thinking. The aliens would be back, and next time they would be ready for human tricks. But humans were good at coming up with new tricks. "All ships, this is Buffalo Actual. We need to spread the word. Every human ship, every station, every colony needs to know what we learned here today." Captain Morrison's voice came through the radio. "What did we learn, Sam?" "We learned that they can be beaten. We learned that our tools can hurt them. And we learned that they don't understand how humans fight." Over the next few days, news of the victory at Kepler Junction spread through the quantum communication networks. Other isolated human groups heard the story and started fighting back. Trading Captain Nick Foster organized the merchant ships into supply lines, making sure ammunition and parts got to where they were needed. Mining foreman Tony Garcia turned his asteroid processing stations into fortresses, using the same equipment that broke apart rocks to defend against alien attacks. Dr. Turner kept studying captured alien technology and sending updates to anyone who would listen. Each discovery made the human resistance a little bit stronger, But the best part was watching the aliens try to figure out what was happening. They were used to fighting other military forces. They understood battleships and battle plans and proper military tactics. They did not understand humans who turned cargo ships into weapons, who used mining equipment as artillery, and who seemed to enjoy breaking all the rules of warfare. Aliens had started this war, thinking humans would be easy to defeat without their main fleet. They were beginning to realize they had made a very big mistake. Rodriguez looked out at the growing collection of human ships gathering around the Buffalo. More arrived every day. Cargo haulers, research vessels, passenger ships, mining barges. None of them were warships, but all of them were dangerous in the hands of angry humans. "Kate," he said, "how long before you can modify our main engines to overload on command? Planning to ram something big?" She asked. "Maybe, but mostly I want the aliens to know that any fight with humans might be their last fight, even if they win." Kate grinned again. "I like the way you think, Sam. Give me 2 days." Rodriguez nodded and turned back to the view screen. Somewhere, out there, the main human fleet was racing home. But Rodriguez was starting to think they might not need rescuing after all. They might just win this war themselves. Colonel Beth Parker watched the alien dropships fall from the sky like burning rain. Her Marine garrison on Frontier Station had 800 soldiers. The aliens were bringing what looked like 20,000 troops to the surface. "Ma'am, should we call for evacuation?" asked Sergeant Bill Murphy. Parker shook her head. "Where would we go, Bill? This is our home. These people are counting on us." Double quotes Frontier Station wasn't just a military base. It was a whole colony. 50,000 civilians lived in the cities and farms spread across the continent. Most of them were families of Marines, but there were also farmers, teachers, doctors, and children. The aliens didn't care about any of that. The first wave of alien troops landed near the main city. They were big creatures, almost 8 feet tall, with thick armor and powerful weapons. They moved in perfect formation, like they had done this many times before, but they had never fought humans on human ground. Parker split her Marines into small groups and sent them all over the continent. "Don't try to stop their main force," she told them. "Hit them where they don't expect it. Make them afraid to split up. Make them afraid to sleep." The aliens set up their command post in the center of the city. It should have been safe there, surrounded by thousands of their soldiers. But Parker's Marines knew every tunnel, every building, every hiding place on the planet. 2 days after the invasion started, a small team led by Sergeant Murphy snuck through the old mining tunnels under the city. They planted charges under the alien command post and blew it up during the night. The explosion killed dozens of alien officers and destroyed their main communication equipment. Suddenly, the alien army couldn't talk to each other properly. But Parker was just getting started. She had learned something important about the aliens. They were good soldiers, but they only knew how to fight one way. They attacked in straight lines. They set up bases in obvious places. They followed their training perfectly. Humans didn't have training for this kind of fight, so they made it up as they went along. Lieutenant John Davis took his squad and captured an alien supply convoy. But instead of destroying the supplies, they poisoned them. 300 aliens got sick from eating their own food. Captain Lisa Brown used the colony's farm equipment as weapons. The big harvesters that normally cut grain could cut through alien armor just as easily. She mounted plasma rifles on tractors and sent farmers into battle driving machines they had used all their lives. The aliens didn't know what to do. Their training said civilians would run away or surrender. These civilians were shooting at them with farming equipment. Meanwhile, Dr. Turner's research was helping the ground troops as much as the ships in space. His team had learned to hack into alien computer systems and turn their own weapons against them. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bell had volunteered for the most dangerous mission yet. He took the research ship UES Discovery deep into enemy space to plant a computer virus in a Zephyrian command vessel. "This is insane," said his pilot, Lieutenant Amy Clark. She had transferred from Morrison's ship to help with the mission. "We're going to fly right into the middle of their fleet." "That's the plan," Bell replied. "Turner says the virus needs to be uploaded directly to their main computer. We can't do it from a distance." They disguised the Discovery as a damaged alien ship using technology captured from previous battles. It was a good disguise, but it wouldn't fool anyone who looked too closely. The Zephyrian fleet had hundreds of ships surrounding the captured world of New Athens. The Discovery flew slowly through the formation, broadcasting fake distress signals in the alien language. "Enemy command ship dead ahead," whispered the navigator. 2 miles in closing. Bell's hands were sweating. If the aliens figured out what they were doing, the Discovery would be destroyed in seconds. But if the mission worked, it could cripple the entire enemy fleet. They docked with the command ship using stolen alien codes. Bell and 2 Marines, disguised in captured alien armor, walked through the corridors of the enemy vessel. The aliens they passed didn't give them a second look. The computer core was heavily guarded, but the guards weren't expecting an attack from inside their own ship. Bell and his team stunned the guards with captured alien weapons and plugged Turner's virus into the main system. "Upload complete," Bell whispered into his radio. "Getting out of here now." They ran back to the Discovery and undocked just as alarms started blaring throughout the alien ship. The virus was already spreading through the fleet's communication network. Within hours, the cyber attack caused chaos across the entire Zephyrian force. Ships lost contact with their commanders. Battle plans got scrambled. Some units received orders to attack their own allies. Back on Frontier Station, Parker watched alien dropships crash as their pilots received contradictory navigation data. The perfectly organized invasion force was falling apart. "Ma'am," Sergeant Murphy reported, "the aliens in Sector 7 are retreating. They're just packing up and leaving." "Let them go," Parker said. "But make sure they know we're watching. I want them to be afraid to come back." The Marines started using captured alien weapons and vehicles. Parker's soldiers learned to drive alien tanks and fly alien aircraft. They turned the enemy's own equipment against them. But the best part was training the civilian militia. The farmers and teachers and shopkeepers of Frontier Station were learning to fight like Marines. They didn't fight like soldiers because they weren't soldiers. They fought like angry civilians protecting their homes. That made them more dangerous than any army. The Zephyrian ground commander, General Kexivoth, sent increasingly desperate reports to his superiors. The humans weren't fighting according to any military doctrine he understood. They used civilian vehicles as weapons. They hid in places where soldiers weren't supposed to hide. They involved non-combatants in military operations. Worst of all, they seemed to be enjoying themselves. "The humans are unpredictable," he reported. "They do not follow conventional military tactics. Every time we adapt to their methods, they change their methods." The response from high command was not sympathetic. "You have overwhelming numerical superiority. Complete the mission." But Kexivoth was learning what the space fleet had already discovered. Numbers didn't matter when the enemy refused to fight the way you expected them to fight. The human resistance was growing stronger every day. More ships joined Rodriguez's improvised fleet. More ground units learned Parker's guerrilla tactics. Dr. Turner's virus continued to spread through alien computer networks, causing problems throughout their empire. Most importantly, humans across the galaxy were sharing information and techniques. What worked on Frontier Station was tried on other worlds. What worked in space battles was adapted for ground combat. The Aliens had planned to conquer human space in a few weeks before the main fleet could return. Instead, they were stuck fighting a growing rebellion that got more dangerous every day. Parker stood on the walls of Frontier Station, looking out at the alien camp in the distance. They were still there, but they weren't attacking anymore. They were just trying to hold their positions and wait for reinforcements. Think they're getting scared, Mom? Murphy asked. Parker smiled. I think they're learning what happens when you attack humans at home. We don't just fight to win. We fight to make sure you never want to fight us again. The war was far from over, but something had changed. The humans weren't just surviving anymore. They were winning, and the main fleet was still 2 months away. Captain Morrison looked at his fleet and couldn't believe what he was seeing. 3 weeks ago, he had commanded a single patrol ship with 25 crew members. Now he was looking at 43 vessels of all shapes and sizes. There were cargo, haulers with missile launchers welded to their hulls, research ships bristling with captured alien weapons, mining vessels that had been turned into mobile fortresses, even a passenger liner that now carried a battalion of Marines. Sir, we're ready for the attack on Proxima Base, reported Amy Clark. She was still his pilot, but now she commanded a whole squadron of converted mining ships. Morrison nodded. Proxima Base was the main Zephyrian supply depot for this sector. If they could destroy it, the alien invasion would lose most of its logistics support. But it was also heavily defended by 2 full battle groups. Pete, are the disguises ready? Morrison asked. Pete Santos grinned. He had become the fleet's expert on alien technology. We've got IFF codes from 6 different enemy ships. As far as their sensors know, we're a returning patrol force. The plan was insane, but that was becoming normal for human operations. They would approach Proxima Base flying captured alien identification signals. The converted cargo ships would look like alien freighters bringing supplies. By the time the defenders realized what was happening, it would be too late. All ships, this is Morrison. Remember, we go in quiet. No shooting until we're inside there. Defenses. Then we hit everything we can and get out fast. The human fleet jumped to hyperspace. 6 hours later, they dropped out near Proxima Base, broadcasting alien signals and moving in formation like a proper military convoy. The base was huge. Massive orbital platforms surrounded a small moon. Hundreds of alien ships were docked to. The platforms refueling and rearming. It should have been impossible to attack, but the humans weren't attacking from outside. They were attacking from inside. Proximity Base Control. This is Transport Group 7 returning with supplies. Morrison. Broadcast in the alien language. Pete had taught him the right words. Transport Group 7, you are cleared for docking at Platform 3, came the reply. Morrison smiled. Just like that. The human ships split up and docked at different platforms around the base. To the aliens, it looked like a routine supply delivery. They had no idea they had just invited 43 enemy warships into their most important facility. The attack began when the UES Buffalo exploded. Sam Rodriguez had loaded his cargo ship with every explosive they could find and flown it straight into the main command center. The explosion was so big, it could be seen from orbit. That was the signal. All across the base, human ships dropped their disguises and opened fire. Amy Clark led her squadron of mining ships in attacks on the fuel depots. The ships were small and fast, and their modified plasma cutters sliced through fuel lines like paper. Secondary explosions lit up the night as millions of gallons of alien fuel caught fire. The UES Discovery, Dr. Turner's research ship, had a special mission. Lieutenant Commander Bell had loaded it with more of Turner's computer viruses. They transmitted the viruses directly into the base's computer network from point-blank range. The base's defenses turned against itself. Automated weapons began targeting alien ships. Docking clamps released, sending ships spinning into space. The traffic control system started, giving contradictory orders to incoming vessels. But the real surprise was the converted passenger liner U.S. Liberty. Captain Foster had filled it with Colonel Parker's Marines, who had been training for exactly this kind of operation. The Marines boarded alien ships in stations throughout the base. They didn't try to capture anything. They just planted explosives and moved on to the next target. "This is incredible," Foster said over the radio. "These Marines fight like they're having fun." Parker's voice came back. "We are having fun. This is what we trained for." The battle lasted 2 hours. When it was over, Proxima Base was completely destroyed. The orbital platforms were burning wrecks. The supply ships were scattered debris. 2 full Zephyrian battle groups had been eliminated. The humans had lost 7 ships, but they had dealt a blow that would cripple alien operations for months. "All ships, this is Morrison. Time to go home." But as they prepared to leave, something unexpected happened. The base's communication array, damaged but still working, began transmitting alien messages. Dr. Turner's people were listening. "Sir," reported the communications officer on the Discovery, "I'm intercepting enemy transmissions. They're calling for massive reinforcements from their home sectors." Morrison felt his blood go cold. "How massive?" "From what I can tell, they're bringing in their second wave. Twice as many ships as the first attack. And sir, they're not just planning to occupy human space anymore. They want to exterminate every human in the affected systems." The news spread quickly through the human fleet. The aliens were scared. Scared enough to call in reinforcements. Scared enough to change their plans from conquest to genocide. "Well," said Rodriguez over the radio, "I guess we really made them angry." Morrison looked at his improvised fleet. 43 ships crewed by cargo haulers, miners, researchers, and Marines. Against an alien empire that was now sending everything they had. But something had changed in the past few weeks. The humans weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting because they were good at it. Because they enjoyed outsmarting enemies who thought they were superior. Back on Frontier Station, Colonel Parker was training her 5th group of civilian militias. Word had spread to other worlds, and people were coming to learn her tactics. Farmers wanted to know how to turn their equipment into weapons. Teachers wanted to learn how to organize resistance cells. Even children were learning how to spot. Alien infiltrators. Dr. Turner's research station had become a center for studying captured alien technology. Every day brought new discoveries, new ways to hack their computers, new weaknesses in their armor, new methods to turn their own weapons against them. The improvised human forces were becoming a real military organization. They had supply lines, communication networks, training programs, and battle-tested tactics. Most importantly, they had confidence. "Sir," Amy Clark reported from her squadron, "long-range sensors are picking up massive hyperspace signatures at the edge of the galaxy." Morrison checked his instruments. The signatures were huge, bigger than anything they had seen before. "That's not the alien reinforcements," he said slowly. "Those are human signatures." The main fleet was coming home. 3 months early and at maximum speed. Someone at Earth Command had finally realized how serious the situation was. Admiral Cooper's flagship, the U.S. Leviathan, was leading 800 capital ships and 3,000 escort vessels back to defend human space. But Morrison was starting to wonder if they would need defending. His improvised fleet had learned to fight the aliens and win. Parker's ground forces were teaching other worlds how to resist. Turner's viruses were spreading through alien computer networks across the galaxy. The Zephyrians had planned to conquer human space before the main fleet returned. Instead, they had created something much more dangerous than any fleet. They had created an entire species that was really, really good at war. All ships, Morrison announced, prepare for the final phase. The main fleet is coming, but this is still our fight. Let's show those aliens what happens when they pick on humans. The improvised fleet moved deeper into alien-controlled space, ready for whatever came next. Behind them, the main battle fleet was racing toward the biggest fight in galactic history. But ahead of them, the second wave of alien reinforcements was about to learn the same lesson the first wave had learned. Humans were much more dangerous than they looked. Admiral Frank Cooper stood on the bridge of the U.S. Leviathan and stared at the tactical display in disbelief. According to his sensors, human forces controlled half of the contested star systems. Not occupied, controlled. "Sir, are these readings?" "Correct," asked his operations officer. "Run the scan again," Cooper ordered. The results were the same. The scattered patrol ships and cargo haulers he had left behind 3 months ago had somehow become a real military force. They weren't just surviving. They were winning. "Get me Captain Morrison," Cooper said. Morrison's face appeared on the communication screen. He looked older than Cooper remembered, but there was something else different about him. Confidence, the look of a man who had been tested and not found wanting. "Admiral Cooper, good to see you, sir." "Captain, what's your current status?" Morrison smiled. "We're currently preparing to intercept the second wave of Zephyrian reinforcements at the system edge, sir. 43 ships under my command, with additional support from ground-based resistance cells throughout the sector." Cooper blinked. "Did you say 43 ships?" "Yes, sir." "Converted cargo haulers, mining vessels, research ships, and passenger transports, all armed with captured alien weapons and crewed by volunteers." "And you're planning to intercept a reinforcement fleet?" "Yes, sir. Our intelligence indicates they're bringing twice as many ships as the first wave. Should be quite a fight." Cooper looked at his tactical officer, who just shrugged. None of this made sense according to standard military doctrine. "Captain Morrison, I'm ordering you to fall back and link up with the main fleet. We'll handle the reinforcements." "With respect, sir, I don't think that's a good idea. My people know how these aliens fight. We've been studying them for 3 months. We know their weaknesses." Before Cooper could respond, another voice cut into the transmission. "Admiral Cooper, this is Colonel Beth Parker, commanding ground forces on Frontier Station. I've been monitoring this conversation." Parker's image appeared beside Morrison's. Cooper recognized her from her file, but like Morrison, she looked different, harder, more dangerous. "Colonel, what's your status?" Cooper asked. "Sir, we've successfully defended 17 colony worlds using improvised tactics and civilian militias. We've also captured enough alien equipment to outfit 3 full divisions. My Marines are currently training resistance fighters on 24 different worlds." Cooper felt like he was in some kind of dream. "Colonel, you're telling me that civilians are fighting alien invasion forces?" "Not just fighting, sir. Winning. Turns out farmers are really good at warfare when you give them the right motivation." A third voice joined the conversation. "Admiral, this is Dr. Alex Turner at Research Station Omega. I've been coordinating intelligence operations for the Resistance." Turner's face appeared on the screen. "Sir, we've successfully infiltrated Zephyrian computer networks across their entire invasion force. We've captured and reverse-engineered most of their technology. We also have detailed intelligence on their reinforcement fleet." Cooper sat down heavily in his command chair. "Doctor, are you telling me that our research stations are conducting military intelligence operations?" "Among other things, yes, sir. We've also developed several new weapon systems based on alien technology, created a network of communication, relays using captured equipment, and established supply lines using converted civilian vessels." This was impossible. 3 months ago, Cooper had left behind a handful of patrol ships and support stations. Now they were talking like they had built their own military empire. "All of you, listen carefully," Cooper said. "I appreciate what you've accomplished. But the main fleet is here now. Stand down and let us handle this." Morrison's expression didn't change. "Sir, with respect, the second wave reinforcements will be here in 6 hours. My fleet is already in position to intercept them. If we wait for your ships to get into position, they'll break through our lines and attack the civilian populations. Captain, you have 43 improvised vessels against a force twice the size of the original invasion. It's suicide." "No. Sir, it's war, and we have gotten very good at it." Cooper was about to order Morrison to retreat when his sensor officer called out, "Admiral, multiple hyperspace signatures detected at Grid 77 Alpha. It's the alien reinforcement fleet." Cooper looked at the tactical display. Hundreds of alien ships were dropping out of hyperspace, exactly where Morrison had predicted they would be docked, and 43 human ships were waiting for them. "All ships, this is Morrison," came the transmission. "Execute Plan Charlie. Remember, they don't know what hit them last time. Let's keep it that way." Cooper watched in amazement as the improvised human fleet attacked the alien reinforcements. It wasn't anything like standard naval tactics. The humans were fighting like pirates, using captured alien IFF codes to get close before attacking, using converted cargo ships as missile platforms, using research vessels to jam alien communications. "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "they're winning." It was true. The alien fleet was twice as large, but they were fighting the same way they had fought 3 months ago. The humans were fighting completely differently. They had learned and adapted and improved. Amy Clark's squadron of converted mining ships swarmed through the alien formation like angry insects, their plasma cutters slicing through enemy shields. The aliens tried to target them, but there were too many moving too fast in too many directions. The UES Discovery transmitted Dr. Turner's latest virus directly into the alien fleet's communication network. Within minutes, enemy ships were receiving contradictory orders and attacking each other by mistake. But the real shock came when Captain Foster's converted passenger liner launched a full battalion of Marines directly at the alien command ship. The Marines had trained for zero-gravity boarding actions using captured alien equipment. They took over the enemy flagship in 20 minutes. "This is Marine Captain Lisa Brown aboard the Zephyrian command ship," came the transmission. "We have control of their main computer, downloading their complete battle plans now." Cooper shook his head. "Did she just say they captured the enemy flagship?" "Yes, sir," his communications officer replied. "And, sir, they're using the alien ship's own weapons to attack the rest of the alien fleet." The battle turned into a rout. Alien ships that had come to exterminate humanity found themselves under attack by their own technology, operated by humans who had spent 3 months learning to hate them. The surviving aliens tried to retreat, but Morrison's fleet had planned for that too. They had positioned ships along all the hyperspace routes. Every alien ship that tried to escape ran into human forces waiting to destroy them. Cooper watched his tactical display as the alien reinforcement fleet was systematically destroyed. Not defeated, destroyed, by cargo haulers and mining ships. And research vessels. "Admiral," Morrison's voice came over the radio, "the second wave is neutralized. No enemy ships escaped. We're ready to link up with the main fleet for the final push into Zephyrian space." Cooper stood up slowly. "Captain Morrison, I want a full briefing on your operations. All of you. I need to understand what happened here." "Happy to brief you, sir. But first, we've got intelligence that indicates the Zephyrian Empire is already preparing to surrender." "Surrender? To whom?" "To us, sir. Apparently, Losing 2 entire invasion fleets to what they thought were civilian ships has damaged their military reputation beyond repair. Their other enemies are already attacking their borders, thinking they're weak. Cooper looked around his bridge. His officers were all staring at the tactical display showing the wreckage of the alien fleet. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "I'm receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian High Command. They're requesting terms for a ceasefire." Cooper almost laughed. Almost. Put them through. The alien commander who appeared on the screen looked defeated. "Human Admiral, I am Supreme Commander Zix Thiel of the Zephyrian Empire. I wish to discuss terms for ending this conflict." "I'm listening," Cooper said. "We acknowledge that our forces have been outmatched by human tactics. We propose a full withdrawal from all contested systems and a non-aggression pact." Cooper looked at Morrison's image on his secondary screen. The patrol captain just shrugged. "Commander Zexthil," Cooper said, "I'll have to discuss terms with my field commanders. They've been fighting this war longer than I have." After the transmission ended, Cooper sat back in his chair. 3 months ago, he had left behind a few patrol ships to watch over human space. He had returned to find they had fought and won. A galactic war. "Sir," his tactical officer asked, "what are your orders?" Cooper thought about it. Morrison and his people had done the impossible. They had turned cargo ships into warships. They had turned civilians into soldiers. They had turned a disaster into a victory. "Set course for the rendezvous point," Cooper ordered. "I want to meet these people properly." 6 hours later, Cooper stood in the conference room of the UES Ranger, Morrison's original patrol ship. Around the table sat cargo captains, research, scientists, marine colonels, and mining engineers. None of them looked like traditional military officers. All of them looked extremely dangerous. "So," Cooper said, "how did you do it?" Morrison smiled. "We fought dirty, sir. We used every advantage we could find. We turned their own technology against them. We refused to fight fair. And add